If you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. With that being said, hello everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Matthew, and today we're doing another unboxing. I know the last one was not that long ago with Ghidorah, but we're doing another Playmates, and this is going to be the last of the Godzilla vs. Kong unboxings for now, specifically from the vs. Kong movie. Reason being is because as the years go by, Playmates has really been only selecting a few figures, of which that go to a restock or a reissue. And where I am, it's very scarce to get those vs. Kong figures anymore. And unfortunately, it's, again, it's a very big rarity, especially with the new Empire figures being the whole stick as of late. I really want a Warbat, but unfortunately Playmates is not reissuing one. But what we have here today is, at least hopefully, the City Battle set from Godzilla vs. Kong. This is one of those 2D punch-out paper cardstock things that you can do. So with that said, I bought this off Amazon for it was on sale. So thankfully I can actually open this. I just want to make sure like everything's all set. Come on. God damn. Okay, this thing is like actually kind of stuck. Is there tape on the other side? I want to be careful because, like, I mean, I could just open it like this. I thought I could just slide it open, but I guess not. So I know it takes me like a billion years just to open a cardboard box. Not necessarily the speediest when it comes to these things. And also, I don't really want to like drag out this review for much longer, or video, sorry, my apologies. Because let's be real here, no one wants to see an unboxing for like that freaking long. Unless it's like a series of them, but no, this is only like one set of figures, so. So, there it is. Open it up, and there it is. Okay, let's get this out of flames slowly. And damn it, it's kind of ripped up. Oh God, what the? Oh shoot. Oh well, that's left. This is. Really? I got this mint. It never said anything about. Oh, well. Damn it. Whatever. Let's just unbox it here. I'll do a box showcase at another point in time. Damn it. I was really hoping to get this thing mint. I guess, sadly, this is the reality of getting figures from Amazon. Though they are reliable when it comes to shipping and, at least for the most part, pricing, you'll never know what you actually get. But, like, how did this thing get ripped? That's my question. It's not used. I can already see that it's like... Alright, so here's the pieces. We're going to primarily focus on Godzilla and Kong, which are, at least look kind of decent. Okay, so now we're going to take a gander at Godzilla here. We're going to open Godzilla first, just because I feel like he'd be the harder one of the two to get out from my past experiences of both Godzilla and Kong. Come on. There we go. So there's Godzilla. And actually, judging from the amount of ties, I was probably wrong. Kong looks like he's got a bit more. And there's the last one. Okay, oh wait, hold on. Is there one more? Oh wait, hold on. Okay, I thought I already cut that one. It's not. Let's open up the arm. There's Kong. Let's get all the zip tie crap out. I'm gonna... Like, look, my Godzilla already has like a weird fuzz in his mouth, and Kong already has like paint chippage right out of the gate. I'm a little disappointed, honestly, with the quality of this so far, which is weird because I'm never usually this disappointed, especially with a Playmates figure. But here's the accessories: Godzilla's tail, Kong's battle axe, everything. All in one. Let's rip that out. All the battle damage pieces. Let's put Godzilla together because, well, yeah, there we go. That went in a lot smoother than I expected. Godzilla's battle damage piece. This would go in like this, I do believe, which is so far pretty crisp. Wait, hold up. Is that the right angle? Yeah, that is the right angle. So why isn't it going in the way it should? Oh, don't tell me I got it defected. No, I didn't. Okay, good. Like, I've been putting battle damage pieces in for years. This should be easy at this point. There we go. It's at least in, and I'll put the that off to the side. Here's Kong. Yeah, this I'm having mixed feelings so far. I like it, but at the same time, the box being as ripped up as it was, and like the paint stuff, like this only should happen like with used items. This isn't used. This is mint. It's supposed to be. Like, dang it. Okay, so eventually I just said screw it, and then just went to put Godzilla and Kong together like that. So I'm just gonna leave it like here. I'll assemble the things off screen. I'm a little bummed out. Honestly, I like the looks of these things. These things look awesome, but ripped up box and everything. Like, look at this. This, stuff like this, and this should not happen. I'm just gonna say it. Shame on you to the to the distributor who sent me this. I'm sorry, but like, you guys really have to do better than this. I'm happy that the figures came like this, but I'm a person who at least likes their boxes to be secure. And unfortunately, you guys it just kind of banged up. It just got banged up and ripped. So, anyways, thank you guys for watching. If you guys liked it, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys next time. That was weird. There you go. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. With that being said, hello everyone. Welcome back to another video. My name is Matthew, and today we are taking an extended look at the Playmates MonsterVerse line, Godzilla vs. Kong, Hollow Earth figure and diorama set. If you haven't seen my unboxing video, which I recommend you to, I basically mentioned in the video that this was going to be, at least for now, until they start reissuing their GVK stuff properly, that this is going to be my last one for that specific movie from their line. A big reason is because, again, just in case you haven't seen it, their GVK stuff is becoming kind of, and I hate using the word rare on a Playmates figure, rare for lack of a better term, because I don't know, Playmates is just really reissuing like a select amount of figures, and it just kind of seems like Warbat, especially the Warbat, the Hong Kong battle figures, even though those got some reissues, they were like very, very limited stock, and I was never able to find them. And I don't know, distribution for these figures has been getting tighter and tighter and tighter until GXK rolled around. So thankfully, so I'm hoping that somewhere down the line they can reissue those. But as of now, this is the last one. That said, I wanted to get this set for a little while because one, I wanted to kind of see what the paper stock sets actually had in store, and also because I was kind of a fan of the way they did the GXK ones, because I got the GXK ones before I did the GVK ones, just from an availability standpoint. And you know, they were cool, they were nice, they were little things like kids could like fold out themselves. Um, assuming that you'd want this for your kid. But here I thought I'd double it up and get a full-blown set, which one's on sale on Amazon, and the box came ripped. Thank you so much, seller. With that said, this is going to be my review of the set within itself. So, now that we have the full-on Hollow Earth set, is this going to be reaching new heights, bigger than that three-floored structure, for lack of a better term? Or is this set as hollow as the Hollow Earth itself? Let's find out. Okay, so first things first, we're going to start with the figures of the set, which, for the first one we're going to be taking a look at, is going to be the king of the monsters himself, the undisputable Alpha Titan, Kong. It's okay, jokes aside. He's the eighth wonder of the world, you already know. So this is going to be the what they call the Hollow Earth Kong. And this is basically going to be a repaint of the Kong with fighter jet figure with new paint. Well, aside from the base paint, but it's going to feature new hues of color. So let's go ahead and get this party started, shall we? Raising up the camera here, and of course looking into his very dead soul. For the head, it's the same mold we've seen, like, I don't even know how many times at this point, because we've seen this on the Fighter Jet Kong, Antarctic Kong, who even knows at this point. The eyes are painted a basic orange with black pupils in the center of them, which looks pretty well done. The face has a very dark gray spray to it with painted teeth in there, just kind of like your basic strip of paint. He's got a very kind of pissed off look to him, almost like he's kind of grumbling to himself. And of course, you have that one tooth that's kind of like almost like a snaggletooth look. And it looks pretty well done, all things considered. And also, the fur detail's still there. The nostrils are still pretty well sculpted in. Like, they go pretty in deep, which is actually something I do appreciate about the Kong sculpt. Of course, the ears make a return. My cat's down there, so don't mind that noise. And yeah, it just kind of features the same, almost like lightish tone brown for the base. But of course, it goes without mentioning the new paint, which on the beard, it's going to be painted blue, similar to the Hong Kong Battle Kong, and features a new thing of orange paint for the top of the hair, which kind of looks like he got like a hairdo, almost looks like Zuko. I'll admit, it does look a little goofy, especially because like it just looks like he got a new hairdo. But I will say, like, especially for a repaint, this really adds some like much needed color to a scene which was already like pretty much chalked up with blues, as we'll see it when we have the whole set together. But here for the rest of the body, we have more of that kind of harder plastic. The head's made of a softer plastic, but the body's going to be made of more of a harder one. For the pecs here, we do have like that sprayed on gray for the base. And then we have the scarring, which is also painted on, but they also put sprays of gray, sorry, orange for the pecs, and then some underlining with blue. And then for the belly button, still looks the same. Fur details look nice and well, still a little basic. And they also carry with the blue spray down towards the sides of Kong, which I also do appreciate. And what I like about it is that it actually kind of goes down here and then goes on both sides, so it really gives like an illuminating look, if that makes any sense. But for the back, it's primarily unpainted, like at least for a majority of it. Kind of would like to see some like highlights of maybe black on him, as the Battle Axe Kong did, even though I don't think it cared to the backside, but whatever. Playmates really loves to leave their backsides completely untouched, unless you're Godzilla. Then again, it'd be weird for all the Godzillas to have the same backside. Looking here, but we do have some nice kind of mirrored fur details, which look fine enough. Same thing we've already seen, monkey booty. For the arms, Same sculpt you've already seen like who knows how many times. Looks nice. Does have like the black dry brushing, a little bit of a cat fur. That's not the figure's fault. I have 3 cats with me right now, so with some dry brushing of black. For this side, you have pretty much all orange, and then for this side, you have pretty much all blue, say except for that, but that's only because it's painted over. And you do get some more black with the more kind of brownish base for the plastic, and it looks pretty well done. And I overall like the color variety they chose. Pretty much opposite goes to the this arm where we have blue here, orange here. It's basically just everything is just mirrored at that point, which again definitely looks the part. Also, what looks the part is going to be those legs, which are painted in the blue with the dry brushing making a return here, which looks at least nice. And I do dig the way that it is painted. However, if there is one kind of mild criticism I do have with this figure, it's that much like, we'll talk about articulation in a bit, but when you move the figure, there's going to be points of it where they aren't painted. And then, especially when you move something like the shoulder, it's just like that, which doesn't really look the best, but then again, it is a Playmates figure, so I wouldn't really expect the biggest of quality. But at the very least, the fists here and here do have some very nice details. Of course, we have it open for the you-know-what accessory. And then here we have like the tight fists here. For the feet, they're not painted really. They do have the gray and the blue hue, kind of. But really, there's nothing too special going on with them. Copyright info, 2020 Legendary, same mold we've already seen. Here's one more look at the back side. Just want to give you like good shots of all the sides of the figure, like this, and then like this. And so for sculpt and paint, again, it's the exact same thing. If you have seen the Fighter Jet Kong review, it's the exact same figure, just with blue and orange paint. Although I will say, it definitely kind of loses the vibrancy of what the gray, because it kind of gets drowned out by the more vibrant colors. Also, just kind of pointed out, I've got a bit of like a nick right there of orange paint. You can kind of see it. For some reason, it shows up better in person than it does on camera, but whatever. It looks fine. It does the job. It's nothing like overly spectacular, but it's a good Kong figure at the very least. But for articulation, the head is on a swivel. So you can go pretty much a full 360 degrees, just like that. Arm, we can go up, down, left, and right. I'm trying to be careful not to like scrape up the paint because let's just say Playmates figures are not known for having the best sealed paint, but you can go around in the socket. Elbow can go bend in about that far, straighten out about this far, and can rotate as well. Nicely done. And hold on. Wrists can swivel, although I feel a lot more like resistance almost, because like it twists, but then it like stop. Okay, how does this? It almost feels like you're twisting the plastic, which you are, but then it finally like catches up and then just starts twisting. So do be mindful when you're twisting this thing. The other shoulder can do the exact same thing. This one can do swivel hinges for the shoulder. The legs. So you can go. Let's try getting that a better angle. Up about that far, down about that far. You can rotate, so you can kind of kick out to the side and do the splits if you really wanted to. And you can go in about that far with the knee, straighten out that far with the knee. Can't rotate there, and you can't rotate at the foot. So, again, pretty much the exact same thing you'd be getting with the Fighter Jet Kong as far as articulation's concerned. So it at least does the job for the articulation. So overall for Kong, at least the figure itself, it's not bad. It really isn't. But of course, we're going to be saving the overall opinions at the end. But what's a Kong figure without some accessories? Yes, for accessories, he comes with his infamous battle axe and a heave accessory, which the battle axe is going to be the exact same thing we've seen with the battle axe Kong. Realistically, nothing has changed, which we'll pull up a comparison once we're done with Kong. And the heave is going to be the exact same heave we got with the mechagodzilla with heave, the standard version. Although, no, that's not yet. I thought these little bits were just access plastic, but no, they're part of the design. I guess I never noticed that. Had these heaves for like who knows how many years. This is my third heave, by the way. Technically seventh if you want to count the Godzilla Kong, the New Empire heaves. Anywho, so to attach the accessories, it's never been easier. For the battle axe, you want to take Kong's arm like this. Then you want to take the battle axe like this, and then you want to kind of like shimmy it in, shimmy, shimmy, yay, shimmy. Okay, fine, I'll stop. And then you kind of want to roll it or squeeze it into there. Use a blow dryer if you have to, but Kong is now holding his battle axe, which for its detailing, for we can actually get a better look at it. Bone club is kind of there. You get it, little bone at that end, and then you get this big femur, and then you get like what appears to be like Godzilla's skin lining a dorsal plate around, which also does have some pretty well sculpted details. Mine's got a bit of a neck right there. I don't know if I think that's from the packaging or before I opened it. Again, I wasn't like 100% awake at that time, probably. So, yeah, it's definitely the same axe we've seen at the very least, especially like this side. And as for the heave, Kong doesn't really hold the heave. It's meant to be like a make believe thing, so you can like like that sort of thing. And for its detailing, here's this side. Underneath, there's pretty much nothing aside from two in there. This side, this side, top side, and then the front, and then you have like that metallic door, which is like, or window, which is like the only piece of paint on this whole thing. So really, it's just meant to look cool with your Kong figure. And honestly, like at least this setup, if the figure was just sold as is like this, I don't think this would have been a bad release. Granted, it would have been a little much, but as my cats are fighting. But there is one last thing I didn't mention, and you already know what it is. That's right, you know it. You might love it. I don't know. Um, I'm personally a bit, no pun intended, torn on this because you tear it right off. The battle damage. Yes, this go around, it's the exact same thing. It's going to be the right bicep, big piece of skin taken off. And I will say, it definitely looks a lot gorier. Like it's made of a much more glossy paint finish. And it looks a lot more pink, almost like magenta. Which, as far as like accuracy to actual blood, I don't really think it would be that accurate, but I will admit it does look a lot nastier and a lot more gruesome. But of course, to put it on, all you do, slide it in there, and then kind of clip it in. Hold on, actually, I think the opposite way kind of works too. Okay, so yeah, there you go. I guess you put it in there first. I've always put it in there first. I wonder why it doesn't work there. But that as far as what Kong goes. He's a very, very simplistic repaint that is basically the, what's the best way of putting this? I don't want to say the definitive, but basically comes with all the Kong stuff that you would need. The heave, the battle axe, and a pretty good figure, I'd say at least. But let's save those thoughts for the end. And for the second character in the set, you know him, you love him, his name is first in the title, the King of Monsters, the true one, Godzilla. Yes, Godzilla here is going to be a repaint of the radio tower Godzilla, and as you can tell by his color scheme, but I'm just gonna come out of the window right now and say this. This might be my favorite version of this mold from Playmates. Yeah, I I'm just gonna say it. I think it looks better than the radio tower, the heat ray, the definitely the energized. It just looks the best overall. So why do I like it so much? Well, let's see. So first up, we're gonna take a look at the head, which if you already know what that radio tower Godzilla looks like, you already know what to expect. But it's going to be a rather simplistic, simplified mold. Very mellow details here for the face, but then you kind of get some decent detailing here for like the neck segmenting back here, then the gills, and then the front of the neck, which is going to be entirely painted in that teal paint. But for the eyes, they are a bit on the more iffly painted side because the pupils and the eye paint itself are actually disconnected from each other. Yeah, that doesn't look necessarily the best, but the teeth paint actually look really nice, and they probably are the best painted of the whole line that I currently have. Um, this one looks a little better. If it was like this, then I think it would have been fine. But for the back of the neck, we have like hues of green here and here, which kind of just overall add to a better color scheme, mixing with some mild dry brushing for the gills on this side and that side, which, hey, who's to complain about that, huh? And then when we move down to the shoulders here, we have more hues of green, more of like a dark green, and then we have some more dry brushing here for the scales back here, and they look pretty good. I do like the dry brushing here that is included. And then for the chest itself, we all had it in all that beautiful teal blue. I'm in love with the way this thing looks. For this side here, we have more of that dry brushing, and it looks absolutely phenomenal. This side also has the green dry brush wash. Definitely looks really nice. And then for the claws, features that very kind of more sandy-ish nail color. Definitely looks a lot better here than it does on the other figures. Although if I did have one criticism, it's the fact that you can obviously tell that the paint is like split by the seam line, so half of it's blue, half of it's like more of a grayish. So it definitely kind of looks a little iffy from the sides, but that's not too bad. Going on down here for the legs. The legs are going to have the very same crisp detailing we see for the uh, arms here, which we have this for the more straightened out leg. We have all of that green making a return, and it definitely has a lot more of like the what is it, the dry brushing. I don't know why I struggled to say that. And it also is inside the leg. Thank you, Playmates, for at least painting the inside of it. Also, by the way, the crotch to the tail is painted as well. And then we have the dry brushing here on this side, same plastic colorization. And then here we have the entirety of this side painted, and it looks really good. I love the combination of like the dry brushing with the green wash, and it just looks so good when it's all thrown together. And then especially we got some wash and dry brushing on the feet itself. And we have the toenails, which are actually well painted. I like it. There's really no like major bleed over, which is nice. I like it. Underneath the feet, not too much going on. But down to the tail, which we'll get to the fins in just a sec. It does stop right here, but good grief, is this thing so cool looking. Now, this could just be my personal bias towards blue and green, but this color combination is beautiful. I love the blue base and then like the streaks of green that are kind of like outlining it. I really wish that the whole figure at least looked something like this. An all light blue Godzilla mixed in with the green highlights. Sorry, the whole figure's gray, at least on base. This would have looked awesome, but sadly it does cut off more towards the midsection of the tail. And also just to talk about it, the fins are back in the non-translucent variety, but still lit up as if he's about to do his atomic breath, which these fins are not painted, but these ones are. They are the lighter blue, which definitely looks on the It doesn't look as vibrant as it does here, but it does look at least nice enough. And unlike my Radio Tower Godzilla, it actually painted towards where it's actually supposed to end, even though I would have preferred the whole tail being painted. But hey, you know what? At least half painted is better than not painted. So at the very least, it does look the part when it comes to this overall figure. And the detailing is also back with like the various segmenting here for the tail, then all the scaling and bumps and grooves across the body. Let's get a few more shots of this guy. Here's the right side, left side, the back side, underside, right side, ignore the cat, above, and the front. So overall for the paint and sculpt, again, the sculpt is nothing special. It's what we've seen before like a billion times. But with the paint, new added paint, and plus being my favorite, or what was my favorite, Godzilla variant of this mold, it just took that and added so much more to it. And this hands down takes my favorite, overall Godzilla of this mold and just looks so good. Which perfectly segues into articulation, which, for starters, which we have a hinged jaw, closes up about that far, and opens up about that far. The head, it's not articulated. Let me get this clear. It is not. There's a seam line. Playmates advertises you can swivel it. I tried this on my Radio Tower, Heat Ray Godzilla. I twisted it, and see that little seam line? That seam line on my original figure started splitting. If that thing splits all the way, there goes this arm, the whole thing, this whole front part just popped out, and you're not going to have it exactly a broken figure, but you are going to have a figure that's in pieces. So, would not recommend the head articulation. The arms, though, you can rotate, let's just say comfortably about up to back there. It's about there. So, there we go. Almost 360, but it gets blockaded by the legs. For this arm, you can go like that. Let's try and push it. I'm feeling a little stiffness. There you go, basically about the same thing. So again, nothing like too overly spectacular when it comes to the articulation here. The straightened out leg can go up about that far, down about that far, no out to the side, but this leg can go up about that far, down about that far. And for the feet, also no articulation. Don't even try, because much like the head, it's on a big square peg and it's going to snap it right off with the seams. And for the tail, we have a ball joint here, which you can go up, down, to the left, to the right, and you can swivel all around. So overall, for the articulation, again, it's nothing really spectacular. It's serviceable. It gets the job done. But I definitely think I would have liked to seen a head joint and or leg joints. I mean, they gave us the feet joints, not leg joints. It already has leg joints. Feet joints. They gave us that on the reissue / retool of the Godzilla with Heat Ray for the New Empire. But they still didn't give us a head swivel, despite the fact that they do that on 2014. So, what's really going up there, Playmates? But what Playmates has in store is going to be the atomic breath, or the heat ray as they now call it, because apparently Toho doesn't want Godzilla to be associated with nuclear power after the, I think there was a nuclear accident over in Asia. But then again, Godzilla's origins is literally about atomic weaponry, so that's a bit on the iffy side. Anyway, this beam, I'm just gonna say it, even though it's the exact same mold we've gotten, like, technically speaking, this is my fourth beam. I have two Heat Ray Godzillas, then the mechagodzilla with Proton Scream. This is the best iteration of the beam. This particular beam. I still think the Heat Ray Godzilla GXK version is a bit better, but this thing is. Let me actually show you a comparison. So this is my first Heat Ray Godzilla from 2020, and as you can see by its beam, it looks cool, looks translucent, but compare this translucency compared to this one. Does that not look more shinier, more vibrant? Yeah, like look at the tips, for example. There's a clear difference. Um, and also because this one's like flopped over time, it's definitely drooped over the years versus this one where it can actually go straight ahead. So the heat ray itself, it's never been easier. You open the mouth, there's going to be a socket up in the head, which you want to aim that upwards, and you want to just shove it in there, and boom, you have your Godzilla shooting the heat ray. But of course, we're going to be bringing up the debatably most important aspect of these figures, and that is going to be the battle damage piece, which mine's got a little bit of a scuff right up there. But just like Kong, the battle damage is going to be painted a much more vibrant red, almost magenta. However, I do have one criticism. It's that these gaps here, 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 and here, it's not as smoothly painted as I think it could be. Because, like, there are gaps in it where it kind of ruins the illusion. But that said, it at least is a better representation of what a gory battle damage piece should look like instead of, like, the more duller red of the past years. So at the very least, they got that right. But overall, for the Godzilla, again, I'll say my absolutely final thoughts on the figures. But at least as of here, this is my favorite iteration of the Radio Tower Godzilla. Or at least the Godzilla mold of this specific 2020 mold. It looks really nice. And especially with all the different colors, I think it's pretty hard to beat. The only one I think would beat it, like as far as my personal bias goes, is probably the Radio Tower Godzilla, which I'm hoping to get. Like, that thing looks freaking amazing. I love the dorsal plates on that. But as of this, I think that this is awesome. I'm a sucker for blues and I'm a sucker for greens. This thing gave me both and more, some, and I guess then some. But again, on its own, pretty much a awesome Godzilla figure. Next up, we have the multiple piece diorama, which how many stocks do we really got in stock here? Well, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 5. Hey, look at all this. This is a 5-piece diorama that, again, has 5 different parts of the Hollow Earth. And we're going to be taking a look at each one of them one by one. Actually, that's kind of a lie. We're going to take look at 2 of them since they're so bloody similar. First, we're going to take a look at these trees, which, I'm going to be honest, they're trees. These are literally something you can nab off Google and print them out for yourself, but essentially they are kind of like 3D-esque. You have one piece of cardstock that is printed only on one side, by the way. So you have to angle it like this if you want to get that illusion. And then you have the main piece, which is going to be like a big flat piece that kind of carries everything together. And then you get like the different tree here, and then another tree here. Pretty much Hollow Earth megafauna, if you will. And also, much like that piece, it is also blank and white on the other side. It's whiter than me. This is going to be more of like just really, really for decoration. Like this whole thing is kind of for decoration. These things are really for decoration. They're just kind of meant to add a bit more depth. And I mean, it's kind of hard to screw up trees, but the fact that these are like also part of the 5-piece number, and it's like literally 2. What's the fraction here? Like, I'm not good with fractions right now, but basically these are 2 parts of it. whatever, this is 40% of the diorama. I'm gonna say it. This should not have been counted as one. Really, the bigger pieces are going to be the more main attraction of what you're going to be getting here. So we're going to move on to them. Next up is going to be this archway, which I think, I could be wrong, is going to be something Playmates themselves created. And honestly, with my cat hanging in the back, it's funny enough, it's the off-screen cat, and she's off-screen, so I guess she's back. Anyway, this archway is going to be made of 3 pieces, technically, because you got these 2, which you, like, inserted in, you fold them in, and then you have this little archway made of, like, rock, and it's pretty large. It's, just to bring in, like, for scale here, it's going to be bigger than Kong, which, like, Kong can't even, like, walk through it. You actually have to, like, sideways him in, which is kind of weird. Like, especially when people are trying to, like, well, kids are trying to, like, play with these things, even though it's more of a diorama, it's literally in the name. But could this not have been, like, the door to the temple? Like, you had a literal archway created by the apes. Maybe you could have had some, like, foldable doors. Or, here's the better option. Make it out of plastic. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Some of these things will not last. This is what the backside looks like. Thankfully, because they're folded in, they're double-sided. But not this. Yeah, it's definitely got some nice terrain design, like some more green, almost like algae. And then you got some like more rocks and segments. It's an arch. Basically what I'm trying to say. Speaking of the temple, you have a literal paper recreation of the temple, which is basically Kong's shortly lived throne room. And we're actually going to be taking a bit of a closer look at this thing. I don't want to really move it all that much. But for the base of it, you have this big circle padding, which is going to be the Godzilla shaped thing on the bottom. They never explain in the movie, and they never make mention of this again. Because you'd think this would be like the discovery of a lifetime, as they say in the movie. But they literally never bring it up in the New Empire. Anyway, this big Godzilla thing is going to be highlighted in blue as it was in the movie. And then you got like some blue illuminating on this throne, which we'll talk about the throne, but it is also 3D cardstock. Taking a look at this side here. It's going to be white on these sides as well. Trying to get a good look at that without knocking anything over. There you go. And of course it goes from like that blue to like that very brownish red. And then you go up here, we have the rocks, which have the Hellhawks, which I think I still have my minifigure in there, which, I mean, we could put that up here, which if you have yours, you could definitely do that. And we have some like rocky ceilings, have a bit of blue up there. And then here you have kind of like the blue, which is weird because it's like on top and no one's really going to pay attention to the top of it. But we do get some more like blue highlighting, which where the blue would be coming from because everything's all down here. I have no clue. And also, I guess just to show the back side of it is entirely white. There you go. That's a shot of the back side. And a shot of the underside. And yeah, that's basically what the throne room looks like. However, I do have one personal gripe with this thing. So, here's our Kong from the set. Okay, you place him in here. He's fairly in scale. It's a much more shrunken down version of what you see in the film. Okay, nothing too bad there. So let's get Kong into a sitting pose. So, knees bent. He goes to sit. Almost knocking everything over. You see the problem here? Let's look in there. Kong isn't even sitting. Yeah, they made it so the throne stands too low. So Kong at his lowest setting can't even sit in it. So you kind of have to have him resting up against the wall. I get this is more of a minor nitpick, but it really breaks the illusion once you notice it, because really once I noticed it, I couldn't really say it out elsewhere. At least this looks fine. It definitely looks what it's supposed to, and it's definitely clear that Kong was supposed to go in this throne room. I mean, it is Kong's throne room, so where else would he be really going? But really, it is a bit disappointing that they weren't able to at least make this piece of cardboard higher so it could actually fit Kong's tushy. But again, it at least looks fine. This is probably the best you're going to get of the Kong throne room on a budget, unless you want to sell for that very big, expensive figure of him, sort of statue, sorry. And here we come to the big event itself. Raising the camera up, the three-towered behemoth, not to be confused with the Titan, the Hollow Earth Tower. I mean, there's really no name for this thing, but whatever. This is technically, so to speak, Godzilla's part, even though in the movie he never appeared in the Hollow Earth, which why they would put Godzilla in here instead of the War Bat, which was the only other Titan he outright encountered, aside from Titanus Doug. It's a weird. Also, funny to note, when I was punching it out, this part ripped. Yeah, that was more on my fault. There was less of the figures and more of my fault. Anyway, so for the bottom, you have this big print, Godzilla's footprint down here, so it's definitely like make-believe as if he was down here. Cats are fighting again, which, yeah, it's definitely going to be more make-believe on Playmates' part, but we do have a Godzilla footprint, more kind of like, not really rubble, but more just like rocky ground and rocky terrain. Here we have some more Hollow Earth fauna with the bushes here and one sticking out there. On this side, we have more like trees and palm trees and such. We have this big, massive waterfall that kind of loops around here and definitely gives like that 3D effect. And we have like these trees that go all the way up here, which we can like fold in. And then we have the second platform. All this makes up the first platform, by the way. And it's fun that they added some like 3D elements to it, because like you have this one, which is a bit more further away than this, and then you have this, which has like a little gap, and then you can have Godzilla like hiding in there, something. And then this side, which is the second platform, not much playability with the second platform, but you do get some more like detailing, more like another foot stomp or something, footprint, and then that's where the water comes in, more detailing down there. And it looks at least nice, which we can all like see that all cups in. Does it pretty well. And then we have like this one. This part's actually pretty cool. The Hollow Earth like skyline, for lack of a better term, with all like the upside down and right side up mountains. Which is that Kong? I might just be seeing things, but is that Kong? That, I swear that looks like Kong. Look, there's his head. There's his shoulder. That's totally Kong. Unless if I'm just seeing things. I swear that looks like some sort of massive gorilla. Anyway, that's kind of funny. Which we have like all these like mountains, and then we actually have a 3D like paper cutout mountain, and then here we have the asteroids and like meteors or floating rocks that look like they're from space, purple energy that Kong like touches in the movie and then he flies. And then here we have like this side, which is just more like the same kind of detailing we've seen with the rest of it. And yeah, that's its third layer, by the way. So a lot of playability here as far as like the display factor goes. Also, if you're wondering what it looks like from the other side, I'm going to slightly turn it. Here it is what it looks like from the other side. I'm literally holding the camera with my second arm, so please do be mindful. Also, I may have or may not have put this together correctly. So I do apologize. So, just like that. And, oh, hold on. Little scraps. Here's what it looks like from this side as well. Which, if there's one thing I really just don't like about these sets, is that they're primarily meant to be displayed from one angle and one angle only, and that's this. Like, it would have been kind of fun to have them, like, double layered or double sided to really, like, max out your display options, but for what it's here, it at least does its job to look good. And really, when you have everything together, I think it looks definitely the best. So, in my personal best guess, because the box doesn't really do a good job, here's what it looks like in full. There's actually these little tabs which don't really connect together, but like more sync up, and you can kind of rest them together, and then this is what it looks like in full. So now, time to have a bit of fun with our figures, huh? So moving the arch and the trees out of the way, we can get a better look as to what it looks like with the Godzilla and Kong on the sets. The Kong here looks pretty well done. I kind of posed him to where it looks like he's trying to hold the axe because the arm articulation just really doesn't allow it. Cats are still fighting in the back. Don't worry, they're like young, like 1 and 4 each, so they're just going crazy. And for Godzilla, he's going to be placed on the second part of it, which, by the way, his tail has to be sticking out, or you'd have to pop off his tail in order for him to be stuck up here, which is kind of odd because, like, you'd think they'd take that into account when the only place he can actually, like, really fit without, like, removing any parts or, like, extending anything is the bottom half, so right here. But the Godzilla here does look cool, and I'm very surprised at first, like, how this thing was able to support the weight of it all. If I did have one problem as well, like here, I'm going to take off the figure, and then I'm going to put it back. Yeah, it kind of weighs it down, and it looks better with it, because there's, like, a tiny little gap on mine, but overall, at least, like, for these levels, you can at least do some cool stuff with it, which, for anyone's wondering, hey, what would happen if you put Kong on the second level of the Hollow Earth set? And, I mean, it can support the weight of Kong. I just don't know if I trust it. Trying to pose him well so he balances. And no, I don't trust it. It bends, like, too far up. So definitely keep him like that. Although I definitely think you could put a figure there depending on how light it is. And as for Godzilla, we're going to extend this camera all the way up. Oh, shoot. Hope you guys enjoyed that little brief shot of my collection. But can this thing actually support the weight of Godzilla? No. I'm going to say no. Because, like, aside from this, there's literally nothing supporting it. So, really, this is just meant to look for more 3D display, and that's that. And for some size comparisons, here they are next to their original counterparts with the fighter jet Kong and the Godzilla with radio tower. And here's what I will say. These are still pretty good basic figures. But when it comes to the repaints, I actually like these two a lot. I still think I prefer this guy over this guy, just because I kind of prefer the basic Kong colors. Because Kong in, like, a whole variety of different colors, it's like if you put it next to a more basic looking Kong, it definitely looks on the more odd side. But I do prefer this Godzilla over this Godzilla because it took what this Godzilla did right and just magnified it. The only thing that it really did wrong was the eye paint, which definitely looks a bit iffy on this one, but definitely is a much needed upgrade by this. Also, by the way, this has gray eyes. Just want to show you. Gray eye pupils. Well, this has black pupils. So people might not realize that, but that is a very nice little subtle touch. And here they are with some Mechagodzilla and Kong figures, with the Mechagodzilla 2019 from Godzilla King of the Monsters, specifically the V1 version, and the Mecha King Kong original standard version, which I want you to just imagine for a sec what it would have looked like if these two, or at least him, they continued the Godzilla license and made a Godzilla vs. Kong diorama set much like this, except it was made of plastic as opposed to cardstock, and it was a lot higher quality. Hey, man can dream. And here they are compared to some other Godzilla and Kong figures with another funky repaint of Kong, the NECA King Kong, the illustrated version based on the famous Monsters of Filmland magazine cover, and because I brought him out earlier, the original release Godzilla Heat Ray from Godzilla vs. Kong. And for the last size comparison, here they are next to the Godzilla X Kong the New Empire, or Godzilla Kong the New Empire, 2-pack papercraft things with Godzilla Evolved and Kong with Beast Club, which, as you can see, it's kind of the same idea where we have Godzilla like completely blue in the front and then shooting off the heat ray, and then Kong like in a whole assortment of different colors based on his surroundings. However, I'm going to say personally, as cool as the New Empire ones are, I gotta prefer these ones like overall quality wise, because they definitely look just a little bit better, although these things are not bad in the slightest. And so overall, what do I think of this set? Well, I'm gonna be honest. There's a lot of things I love about this set, a lot of things I don't like about the set, and some things I'm a bit torn on. For starters, the things I love. Let's go over the positives. I love the new repaints of Godzilla and Kong. I love the fact that they took, in my personal opinion, the two better versions of the figures and they made them even better. Well, mainly Godzilla. The Kong definitely has, I would say personally, again, it looks a bit odd when you compare him, but I love the Kong on its own. On its own merit, I like it. But the structures I feel like are a bit on the more, what's the lack of a better term? Good in idea, but not so much on practice. What I mean by this is, this set was an absolute pain for me to build. The instructions, which I'm going to pull out the instruction booklet it gives you, doesn't really help you at all. And like literally, as far as instructions goes, this is literally all it gives you. It doesn't list what parts are which, but it doesn't specify which parts come first. That was the big problem, because I didn't realize that you were supposed to fold in those little tabs at the bottom to lock in everything, and as a result, everything just kind of collapsed one way or the other. I folded some parts, ripped one part, and it definitely was a lot more misguided. If me, a person in his 20s, was like so confused about this thing, I have no reason to believe that a kid is just gonna give up and just buy this for the figures. Like, they probably, or not even buy this at all, like just care about the figures and just say screw it to the set. This is why I think that these things should be made of plastic, not cardstock. If these things were plastic 3D pieces, like, that would have been a lot better. Like, as far as like that, the play value, especially, you can make it double-sided. I mean, sure, it kind of ruins the whole like putting it together, but they could have been like in separate parts and like, you know what? At this point, I'm kind of fantasizing a bit too much. I definitely also think the two trees being like counted as part of the 5-piece, like that's 40% of it. Not literally as far as sheer size goes, but this in the set's eyes is just as equal as this. Yeah, it's a bit on the more iffy side, but for what it's worth, it has a really nice display presence. I don't know where I'm going to be displaying this on my current shelves because they're primarily meant for figures and not so much for displays, but I probably will end up having a whole other shelf brought in specifically for this. But as for my rating, I'm going to do like something different. I'm going to rank the figures individually, and then I'm going to rank the all 5 of the sets because it wants to do that, and then we're going to rank everything all together. So here it is. Counting the accessories for Kong, the sculpt and paint, I'm going to give personally a 7.5. It's the same mold we've seen already, but it's simplistic enough. And although the paint definitely elevates it a bit, it definitely looks a bit odd in comparison to what we got before. And as far as circulation goes, I'm gonna give that a relative. I'm gonna give that also a 7.5 because I feel like it could have been a little bit more, like maybe a head ball joint or maybe like a waist swivel, a foot swivel. Like Playmates is more than capable of doing that for the same price point as these things. And as for accessories goes, I mean, they're the same accessories we've already gotten, so no, that's a bit too harsh. I'm gonna say 8 out of 10 for the accessories because basic, yes, same thing we got already, yeah. Kind of docks it a little, but it 2 accessories for the price of 1. I'm not counting the battle damage. Actually, I'm gonna count that battle damage, and I'm still gonna be an 8. So overall for the Kong, I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10. Just overall. For the Godzilla, sculpt and paint, I'm gonna give it a 7.5, much like Kong. Basic, yes. Colorful, yes. It's just the mold itself that's kind of been overused done to death at this point. Although the paint really does save it, so I guess let's bump that up to an 8. There you go. Sculpt and paint gets an 8. Not so much for the detail, but the paint itself just elevates it a lot better. Articulation, I'm going to give a 6 because the tail is nice, but the feet and the head are really supposed to swivel, even though it's clear that they don't. And the arms and the legs really just do robotic movements. And the jaw, it's cool. It does what it's supposed to do, but I feel like it's a bit outdated, especially given the current standards of figures from the same line. And as far as accessories go, being the battle damage and the heat ray got a bit of an upgrade, and the battle damage got a bit of a downgrade thanks to the paint. So I'm going to give that a 7.5. So overall, I'm going to give the Godzilla, it's struggling, but I'm going to give it probably the same rating as Kong, a 7.5. Not a great figure as far as sheer quality, but for the appeal, I love it a lot. And as for the sets, I'm going to give the trees kind of I know this is going to sound harsh, but a 3.5, sorry, 3.5 out of 10. These things don't really add a whole lot. The archway, I'm going to give a 6. The temple, I'm going to give a 7. And then this big part, I'm going to give an 8. So overall, as far as the whole diorama set, with both the figures, I'm going to give I feel like this is a fair rating. Much like the figures, a 7.5 out of 10. Pros, good figures, good accessories, and really funky color scheme, but it's just the fact that these things were made of cardstock and the fact that this thing is only really playable or viewable from one side. This thing should have been all around, or screw it, just make it made out of plastic. Even if it is like $10, $20 more, I would still pay that money because I'm a sucker for Godzilla vs. Kong, I guess, at this point. But I guess in a way, this is kind of the last thing I plan on getting from Playmates as far as the Godzilla vs. Kong movie goes. I still plan on collecting the rest of the new Empire line because they just came out with One Eye and Drowned Viper. And I don't know if there's any other figures coming next, but from what I do know is they plan to renew the Godzilla license again, so we could see more Godzilla and Kong figures coming from there as well. But on this own, might be the last because again, they should just reissue Godzilla vs. Kong stuff, then I'd start getting in more. But yeah, consider this one last hurrah for me as a collector as far as the Godzilla vs. Kong Playmate stuff goes. It's been a fun ride, 5 years collecting these figures, but this is like, how many times have I gotten these molds? I feel like it's time to move on to the next movie, whatever that next movie may be. Godzilla and Kong, War on Vengeance. I don't know, I'm making stuff up. Anyways, if you guys like this very longer review, I do apologize if this was longer. Definitely leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace, everyone.